GRIDCo was established in 2008. We go to the role of GRIDCo in the electricity sector. Here you have gas supply or the fuel. You have the GENCOs or the generating companies. For the gas supply, you find Ghana Gas, GNPC, ANI, Talo. Some are upstream, some are downstream. We have VRE, BUI, and IPPs. IPPs make mention of Car Power, Send Power, Asogli, Amandi or Twin City, and all the others. Then we find our role as the transmission. And our key roles are the system operator. Emphasis on the system operator. The system operator is the one who supervises or manages the supply against the demand. I'll come back to this aspect in a jiffy. Then you have the DISCOs or the distribution companies. Here you have the mines, the bulk customers, you have ECG, NETCO, all being part of the distribution system. Consumers will sit behind the distribution. So if I were projecting further, you see that SAME will be connected to ECG as a downstream. And therefore, in the energy value chain, all these processes must be up and running smoothly for you to have the electricity in your homes. All these chain, gas, generation, transmission, ECG or NETCO, all of us must be functional for you to see your light on in your home. Coming to our services, we have the transmission. We do some aspect of telecoms because we have fibers on our towers. Primarily, we use it for our teleprotection and communication among ourselves. So we have our internal. I can sit in my office and call Bolga or Tumu or Wa or Kumasi or Akusumu through our own system. It's called a power line carrier. That is what we use. Then also we've seen opportunity across our borders and even in Ghana where we provide consultancy services based on our knowledge, our tools, and the expertise that we have, all in an effort to bring in additional revenue for our business. Looking broadly at a snapshot of the grid, you find 14 generating companies. We have about 5,246 megawatts. That's installed capacity. We have about 5,500 transmission line made up of 69 kV, 161, 225, and 330. We have 31 bulk customers. So far, our demand, which happened on March 8, 2022, is 3,469 megawatts. We anticipate that by end of year, we should be around just shy of 3,600 megawatts. We look at our demand growth, and the good thing is that the demand in power has a direct correlation to our economic growth. When you plot them, they will be parallel by and large among the two. And therefore, anytime you have a stagnation in power demand, you can see it from the graph. That's around 2013, 2014, and also 2018 and 2019. These are periods that we had challenges with our demand growth, and definitely also will translate into some slow activity within the economy. Our demand for 2021, maximum demand was 3,246. As I indicated earlier, by March 8, we were 3,469. So it means that we've already exceeded the 2021 demand. Another interesting thing that I need to bring to attention is that for the first time, on a Saturday, we recorded a demand in excess of 3,300 megawatts. It's an indication of the potential for our demand to grow. And therefore, that is something that we need to keep our eye on. Operational challenges, overgrowth under our transmission line because of where the lines pass. We have lines that leave western region, must go towards Ashanti region and continue to the north. From western towards Ashanti, it's a whole thick forest, but the lines must find a way to go. So the undergrowth are there that we need to clear. When we say clear, it is weeding and make sure that when the lines sag, they don't touch the trees that create disturbances for us. Another major concern to us, and here, our friends for the media, you need to help us to address this. Those who encroach on our right of way and stay under the lines, either to do business or their household, it's a real challenge. It is extremely dangerous. And we need to bring ourselves to mind of the dangers while we stay there, and also the risk associated with a tower collapsing or the conductor falling, and also even impeding us if we need to go do work under. So that's something that I want the media to help us. Then Galamsey know no bounds. They go all the way chasing the resources that they want, forgetting the point that the towers that are there are for our collective good. Because we've had situations where Galamsey, because we need to relocate our towers just to ensure the reliability of our supply to our consumers. All these things come at a cost, and they impair our reliability of supply. This is a typical Galamsey where virtually the tower footings or foundations has been completely exposed. We needed to find a way to quickly address this. All these are additional costs to our business, and even if we had not seen it early enough, the dangers would have encountered. Look at where our transmission lines passed. These are thick forests, and at times our men need to walk for days carrying items to go and do the works. But they are committed to it, and they know the role we play in Ghana's socio-economic development, and therefore we do it honorably. This picture shows more challenges where you find the smoking transformer there. That's as a result of overload, and therefore we need to almost always maintain our transformer loadings up to a point to minimize such activities. The right are towers that collapsed that we needed to reinstate. The down one was the famous failure of a communication mast on our tower that impacted negatively on the grid to the extent that Kumasi really struggled, and we needed to go plead with Otumfuo to bear with us because we really had a challenge within the grid. Solutions. Based on the enormous challenges we are having with our right-of-way, we've set up the right-of-way task force under the Director of Technical Services, where we will equip a team, 3 teams, to monitor our right-of-ways. One team will be in the Ashanti region, Kumasi area, that will address Kumasi, Obuasi, and the northern side. We have one team that will also be around Takrade, that's the western region, so Takwa, New Takwa, Cape Coast, Winneba. Then the other one will be in Tema. That will take care of Greater Accra, Tema, and the Volta region substations all the way to KJB, including Tafu. To decongest the lines for project, it comes at a cost. Under normal circumstances, these are things that we could avoid, towing trucks under our lines because we need to work. These are costs that we could avoid, and we impress upon you to let the good people of Ghana know that these are constraints that we can do without. Then also we are bringing in the technology of drones to make sure real time we can inspect and see what is wrong with our lines in terms of the fittings, if they are corroded or glass insulators are off and we need to replace them. These are development that we need to have. They all come at an additional cost, but we need to do. Our major constraints within the grid, broadly, we've labeled them this way. We have the Western Corridor. So Western Corridor, you are looking at Takoradi all the way towards Dunkwa area. That's what we refer to as the Western. You can see from the map, the light blue circles. The coastal, that's the one in yellow. That is from Abuade, Cape Coast, Winneba, now Kaswa, all the way to Malam. Then you have the middle. The middle is from Akusumbu, Tafu, Nkoko, Konongo to Kumasi. That's the middle. All these lines have virtually lived their usefulness. They are contributing significantly to our losses because they are old but carry a lot of power still, and therefore we need to replace them or reconstruct them. Another issue that we need to address has to do with radial lines. Radial lines. The challenge we have is that normally consumers must be supplied from minimum 2 sources so that if one goes off, the other will be available to maintain the supply. We have lines that are radial in nature, and therefore when they go off or we need to work on them, consumers must be off for the period or the duration at which we are working. In modern day Ghana with our digitization agenda, it is something that should be a thing of the past because our lives hinge on we having the energy to do all that we require. Mention a few. Tamale Yendi, it's a radial line. Asiekpe all the way to KJB. So Asiekpe who Peve Pandu to KJB. It's a radial line. If anything happens between Asiekpe and let's say who, the rest of the northern that goes all the way to KJB is off. These are things that we need to address going forward. I am free to Obotan. It's also a radial line. Obotan is a minor substation. And therefore, when light goes off, it disrupts their operations, and we need to ensure that it's a thing of the past. Asiekpe also goes to Sogakope. It's also a radial line we need to address. Sunyani to Brekum, a challenge. In Koko to New Ebrim. Newman has a mine at New Ebrim, and therefore, when we have challenge with the supply, it disrupts we are looking at closing it up from New Ebrim to Inquitia, to Aquitia, so that there's alternate path for supply for New Ebrim and also for it to be used to service New Obuasi from Aquitia. Takrade is Siama. It's a radial line that virtually also disrupt. The Nzema area has become like a kind of, should I say, tourist attraction. They have interesting things there. So normally, when the supply goes off, it impacts negatively on their activities, and we need to address that. Mention a few projects that have been completed. First one is the Pokwase BSP. That was commissioned by His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. It's the biggest in the grade, and its sole purpose is to back up 2 substations, Malam and Achimota. By and large, we are going to engage our brothers in ECG to see how we take full advantage of that capacity that exists at Pukwase. It was a grant, almost $47 million, and we are grateful to the Millennium Challenge Corporation and the U.S. government. The next one is the Kaswa Bulk Supply Point that was recently commissioned by the Vice President. That one has just shy of $50 million, also grant. And the Kaswa BSP is the most sophisticated within the grid because it has every major component of a power sector. Underground cable, overhead lines, it has the HVC, it has GIS, gas insulated substation, it has some component being AIS, it has transformers, and therefore it is the most sophisticated within the grid. And we are happy equally to the U.S. government, MCC, and the implementers on behalf of government of Ghana, MIDA. We are looking at reconstructing a major transmission line starting from Tematos, Accra. If you recall, in our recent past, any time clouds form or it's raining, we know definitely that our lines were going to go off. Well, these were old lines built in the 1960s. They have sagged so much that with any wind, they swing and it goes off. I get excited when it's raining and friends will call me to say, oh, it's raining this time, but our lights are still on. It's a good thing showing that the works that we are doing is bringing the desired benefit. It doesn't mean that we are out of the woods yet. No. But we have many of these lines that we equally need to construct. We construct these lines with the hope that we improve on the voltage, increase the transmission capacity going forward. Transmission lines, when constructed, last for a while. The ones that we are reconstructing were done in the 60s. We are in the 20s. And therefore, it's paid its dues for the past plus minus almost 60 plus years. Here, I wouldn't say too much. It's a completed Pukwase BSP commissioned by His Excellency. Kaswa also commissioned BSP by His Excellency, the Vice President. Ongoing reconstruction of our transmission lines. We need to reconstruct them to increase the transmission capacity, reduce transmission losses. PURC is pretty stringent with us with all that we need to do to reduce our transmission losses. And therefore, we needed to go ahead with this development and reconstruction that we require. With the reconstruction, it also improves voltages. One journalist with engagement told me that, but after we picked the 330 kV, Ahomaso to Kintampo line, we said voltages were going to improve. I explained to him that yes, it did improve, but we all know when we are at home and what we refer to as low current, when non-technical people say no current, we understand it to be low voltage, and therefore your compressor may be off, some will switch your even fans, or the fans will be running, then all of a sudden it will just go off. But with improvement of that nature, it goes to virtually improve the voltage, and consumers see and bring on their unit again. A typical example, Konongo used to be the most notorious within the grid. We just put in a bigger transformer because the transformer was overloaded. And a hotel that our staff who were working there go to stay gives the indication that for the first time they see the ACs working well because the low voltage has been eliminated and therefore they can pick. Then also with increased capacity of lines, we reduce their outages. major upcoming projects. The Ghana-Germany Compact was at the instance of the President of the Republic with the German government. This project has 3 key components. I made mention of the SVC that was at Kaswa. Identical one is supposed to be installed at Ahonjo, that is in Kumasi. Then also, we needed to break into the long 330 kV line at Dunkwa so that we link the 330 to the 161, all in an effort to improve supply reliability to our consumers. The next one is improvement of the southwestern infrastructure. Here we refer to it as the Western Corridor Transmission Line Upgrade Project. It takes from Abuadi all the way Takwa, New Takwa, Bogoso, Dunkwa. And that is the purpose. These 2 projects are in the budget for this year. And inshallah, we hope to go through the PFM activities and commence this year. The process is ongoing. We also have the construction of a backup control center. Our National Control Center is at Tema, and that's where we see everything real time as to whether we need some generators to come up or we need some ECG to drop some load or we ourselves might drop some load. We see it real time, real. Anyone who has visited the place before can tell that it's pretty a stressful environment and real time values are changing. Every second they change. We need to have a backup as part of our business continuity plans so that in case something happens to our National Control Center, we'll have the backup to take over and manage the grid. Key projects that are coming up. We picked these 3, which are also part of our project that we submitted to PRC, because we needed to bring this up as part of energy supply plan. We've made the economic management team on it, and we've made a passionate appeal for them to get GRIDCo some resources to be able to complete this. First one is the coastal. If you reference it to the constraint that we have, is the coastal transmission line. The second one is supposed to be a line between Pokuase and Malam. The reason is that you normally would prefer that much of your load should go on the 330 kV, and therefore we'll step it down at a shorter distance from Pokuase to Malam, plus minus about 20 kilometers. Just all in an effort to improve the reliability of consumers in Greater Accra and the immediate environs. The middle corridor, that's a long line, about 225 kilometers between Akusumo and Kumasi. I need to bring this to the attention. Reconstructing existing lines take time. So let's assume Deputy Minister says that my father gave me $1 billion. I love GRIDCo, I love Ghana. I want to give the money out for it to be used for reconstruction. We can't take all the lines out at the same time and see, because we have the money, we are going to reconstruct. We need time. It needs to be planned so that the impact of the reconstruction will also not affect consumers that much. It is key we bear that in mind. Then also, if it's an existing line, because our lines virtually run parallel, you need to go off to allow the reconstruction to go on because of the risk associated in working with such environment. I need to say this. At times, people easily say, oh, we have doom so. Meanwhile, across the street, his opponent has light, but his light has gone off. Even at times, it's 3 phase, 1 phase is off. some people say it's still doom so. The issue is that with the grade, when we go off big. So normal, when friends call me, I'll ask, do you have light anywhere close by? When you say yes, I know it's a local action. When you say no, then I'm calling the control center to find out whether the grade is okay or not. We should remember, without the grade,